Happy evening to all.
Happy evening, sir.
So we are doing exit tax, a 6-mark area or 8-mark area for examination. In that exit tax, we have understood basically exit EXIT under 4 circumstances: the trust, charitable trust or religious trust or 1023C series organization is liable to pay the exit tax, which is if there is any conversion, if there is any deemed conversion, if there is any merger or non-distribution of asset within 12 months from the end of the month in which the take place. We understood that there are 3 cases will amount to deemed conversion. Number 1, registration has been cancelled, or you have changed the object of the trust but you have not applied for fresh registration, or you have applied for fresh registration but the registration has been rejected, or after the expiry of the due date or the particular time limit you have not applied for re-registration or re-approval. Then in these 3 circumstances, deemed conversion. If you fall under these 4 circumstances, you are liable to pay exit tax. On what amount I should pay exit tax? On the accreted income. What is accreted income? Asset at fair market value on the specified date minus liability valued will be the accreted income. Fine. In that, when you are calculating that asset, 3 assets should be excluded. Asset purchased out of 10(1), that is agriculture income. Any asset purchased before the registration taken under section 11 or 12, or any asset is distributed after dissolution within 12 months from the end of the month in which the distribution has taken place. We are having 2 dates. One is specified date and other is relevant date. Specified date is the date on which you are supposed to calculate the accreted income. So specified date with regard to conversion is date of conversion. With regard to deemed conversion, you have to check, sir, under what category it is falling. It is with regard to cancellation of registration, means date of order of cancellation. With regard to modification of the object, whether you have not asked or you have asked, it has been rejected, date of modification. And failure for re-approval or re-registration, then the last date of making application is the date on which you are supposed to calculate the accreted income. With regard to merger, sir, date of merger. And with regard to the non-distribution within 12 months from the end of the month in which the date of dissolution is what? So we are having 2 dates. Number 1, specified date, and specified date is for completion of accreted income, whereas relevant date is the time of supply, which is payment of exit tax. From there you have to calculate 14 days. So relevant date, sir, with regard to the registration cancelled, you have to check against the order of cancellation. Are you going to ITAT? Then the time period of appeal should be expired. Or if you have already gone to the ITAT, then from the date of communication of that order, from that date you have to count 14 days. With regard to the alteration of the objective of the trust, with that you have not applied, or you have applied, it has been rejected, or you fail to reapply or taken the approval, then end of the year, previous year, you have to add 14 days. Changing the objectives plus application for registration, then sir, rejection of the application. That order you can either challenge or you cannot challenge. With regard to merger, date of merger and non-distribution of asset, date of 12 expires. That's it, man. This is what our discussion is all about. We are moving into the second part of the discussion from the exit tax, 115TD subsection 2, method of valuation for the purpose of 115TD. The aggregate fair market value of total asset of the inner person, specified person, shall be the aggregate of fair market value of all asset in the balance sheet as reduced by. So you have to take the aggregate inner market value, fair market value of balance sheet, allows are reduced by number 1, any amount of income tax paid as deduction or collection at source or as advance tax payment as reduced by the amount of income tax claimed as refund under the act. That means you have to remove the income tax adjustment basically, like TDS, TCS, advance tax, all those things has to be reduced. Right. This will not be treated as liability. Any income tax paid as deduction, deduction means TDS, or collection means TCS, or tax, advance tax payment as reduced by the amount of tax claimed as refund under the act. Appo TDS paid, hello sir, TCS paid, hello sir, advance tax paid, hello sir, you will get the total subtotal less what? Refund. You will be getting the net income tax paid. Correct? This net income tax paid balance sheet or liability side irukna adu enna panni vittarnumna minus panni vittarnum. Right. Any amount shown as asset including the unamortized amount of deferred expenditure which does not represent the value of any asset. That means in the balance sheet asset side you are having unamortized amount like deferred revenue expenditure, like carry forward of, we will used to say that advertisement is a deferred revenue expenditure, like waste assets are there on the asset side of the balance sheet, you have to remove it. So take the fair market value of the asset minus net of income tax minus any unamortized asset. Because unamortized asset anyway you are not going to realize anything, why are you paying the exit tax? The fair market value of assets shall be determined in the following manner, namely shares and securities. That means your assets has to be classified into like this. So உங்களோட balance sheet நம்ம என்ன பண்ண போறோம்னா அனலைஸ் பண்ண போறோம். சார் ட்ரஸ்டோட balance sheetல நம்பர் 1 என்ன இருக்க வாய்ப்பு இருக்கு? shares and securities. அந்த shares and securities முடிச்சா ரெண்டாவது என்ன இருக்க வாய்ப்பு இருக்குன்னா சார் immovable property. The second one is immovable property. Immovable property. Third one, business undertaking. Fourth one, other asset. So these are the main classification of asset. In the shares and security itself, you may have different types of shares and securities. Number 1, shares and securities na quoted shares and securities. That means listed shares, quoted shares and securities. Number 2, unquoted shares and unquoted equity shares and unquoted equity shares. That's it. Unquoted equity shares. Next one, shares and securities other than equity shares. Other than equity shares. Like we are having 3 classification. So shares and security can be classified into 3 category. Number 1, quoted shares and securities. Number 2, unquoted equity shares. Shares and securities other than. What is the fair market value is the question. Quoted means it is already listed in the recognized stock exchange. Correct? Yes, the average of lowest and highest. Average of. So you have to basically take the average price. Average price of the lowest price and the or such shares and security quoted on a recognized stock exchange on the end date. அப்ப நீ என்ன டேட்டுக்கு போறோம்? Specified dateல போயிட்டு சார் highest rate plus lowest rate divided by 2. You have to take the end date average. Where on the specified date there is no trading, அன்னைக்கு stock exchange leave, அன்னைக்கு என்ன இல்ல trading இல்லனா, in such shares and security on a recognized in exchange stock exchange, average of the lowest and highest price of such share and security on recognized stock exchange on a day immediately preceding the end date. Very simple. When such shares are securities are traded on a recognized stock exchange, so we can easily do what and what. Quoted shares and securities classified into how many category? 2 category. That is trading on any date, specified date. Upon the specified date la enna undu? Trading undu. No trading on specified date. Specified date la trading illa. In case specified date la enna irukuna? Trading irukuna, average rate on specified date. அவ்வளவுதான். கரெக்டா? சார் in case trading இல்லைனா average rate on immediately preceding day. Immediately preceding day of specified date. அந்த specified date ஓட ஒரு நாளைக்கு முன்னாடி இருக்கிற average rate you have to take. Right? Yes sir. So specified date இல்லனா no trading. In case trading இல்லனா அதோட lowest or highest immediately preceding the end date, specified date. அத trading அதுக்கு முன்னாடி எப்ப trading இருக்கோ அந்த டேட்ல. ரைட். இன்னைக்கு trading இல்ல, just முன்னாடி trading இருக்கு நம்மளோட assumption. இல்லனா எப்ப trading இருக்கோ அந்த டேட். when shares and securities are traded on the recognized stock exchange. Coming to the next one man, unquoted equity shares. என்ன quoted equity share? இப்போ யாரை முடிச்சாச்சு? Quoted equity shares you have to take the average date, average rate on the specified date. If the average there is no trading on the specified date, then you have to take the average rate on the immediately preceding the specified date in which trading is there. That's it. Coming to the next one, man. Unquoted equity shares. Second one.
Unquoted equity shares.
Sir, how to value, man? Unquoted equity shares is the question. It's a mathematical formula. A plus B minus L into PAVI divided by PE. Correct? Yes, sir. What this formula is all about? Sir, so A plus B minus L into PV divided by P. What is A? Sir, is the shares listed share and unlisted share?
Unlisted.
Unlisted equity share. Book value of all asset in the sheet, balance sheet, other than bullion, jewelry, precious stone, artistic work, shares, securities and immobile property as reduced by. That means unlisted equity shares oda value நீ எப்படி calculate பண்ணுவேனா? Hello sir. You have to take the என்ன value? Book value. So book value of an asset, all asset, correct? Other than basically jewelry, எதெல்லாம் bullion, jewelry, precious stone, artistic work, shares, securities, immobile property. As reduced by, இதெல்லாம் நீ reduce பண்ணிக்கணும். Number 1, any amount of any tax paid, income tax paid as deduction or collection at source or as NSR advance tax payment as reduced by the amount of income tax claimed as refund. That means net any tax, income tax. That is TDS plus TCS plus advance tax minus refund. Any amount shown in the sheet, balance sheet as asset including the unamortized amount of deferred expenditure which does not represent the end of the asset, value of the asset. So you have to take what A is saying, that I am going to calculate the unquoted share, equity share. Enna formula na A plus B minus L into PV divided by P. So I am looking the balance sheet, my dear lovable students. Balance sheet la ingita asset irukuma? For all the asset I have to take the value, book value as reduced by net income tax minus deferred revenue expenditure. This is what my A is all about. Next one, man, B, the next one. Fair market value of the bullion, jewelry, precious stone, artistic work, shares, security and any property as determined in the manner provided in the rule. So, அதோட book value, other asset ஓட book value, இதோட fair market value, அதோட book value, இதோட. So, அப்ப balance sheet எப்படி போகுதுன்னா, சார் இப்படி தான் சார் நான் வேல்யூ பண்ண போறேன். நான் பேலன்ஸ் ஷீட்லயே போட்டுறேன். ரொம்ப சிம்பிளா, அதாவது என்னன்னா I am drawing the balance sheet like this, my dear. இதுவரைக்கும் பேலன்ஸ் ஷீட்ல மூணு விஷயம் கிடைச்சிருக்கு நமக்கு. நம்பர் 1, assets other than B. ஏன்னா B னா it's a group. B stands for bullion. Bullion னா bullion, jewelry, precious stone, artistic work, shares, securities, immobile property. That means assets other than B, you have to take the value, book value. As reduced by, two things will be there. Number 1, sir, inga vandu pathena deferred revenue expenditure irukum. Idha nee knock off pannirணும். Inga vandu pathena TDS, TCS, correct? Then enna? Advance tax paid in the side la varum. Correct? Advance tax paid, are you with me? இதெல்லாத்தையும் நெட் ஆஃப் பண்ணிட்டேன்னா TDS, TCS, அட்வான்ஸ் டாக்ஸ் எல்லா அசெட்டையும் நீ நாக் ஆஃப் பண்ணிட்டேன்னா மைனஸ் பண்ணிடணும். அதனால தான் இந்த சைட் போட்டேன் நான். ரெடியூஸ்டு பை. ஹலோ சார். ஸோ இதை ரெண்டையும் வேணா மைனஸ் பண்ணுங்கிற ஏலேருந்து மைனஸ் பண்ணும் கீழே எழுதிக்கலாம். இந்த எல்லா பேலன்ஸ் ஷீட்டும் ஒன்றா போட முடியாதுங்கிறதுனால. அப்போ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஒன், ஃபார் ஐட்டம் ஏ யூ ஹேவ் டு டேக் த புக் வேல்யூ. ஃபார் ஐட்டம் பி, தட் இஸ் அசெட் விச் ஆர் என்ன சார், ஐட்டம் பி யூ ஹேவ் டு டேக் த என்ன மார்க்கெட் வேல்யூ. ஸோ புக் வேல்யூ plus fair market value I have taken till now. Now what is the formula? A plus B minus L. இப்போ என்ன பொறுத்தவரைக்கும் என்ன balance sheet assets comes to an end because bullion மாதிரி இருக்கிற ஐட்டத்துக்கு fair market value எடு, other than bullion க்கு book value எடு, சார் deferred revenue expenditure மைனஸ் பண்ணிடு, net of tax மைனஸ் பண்ணிடு, that's it. இவ்வளவு balance sheet assets உனக்கு வரும். Next one சார், L stands for liability. Book value of liability என்னது, shown in the balance sheet but not including the following amount. அப்ப இந்த சைடுல உனக்கு L stands for என்ன இருக்கும், liability இருக்கும். இந்த liabilityயோட என்ன வேல்யூ எடுத்துக்கோ, book value. ஆனா சார் இதெல்லாம் வரக்கூடாது, இதெல்லாம் liability ட்ரீட் பண்ண கூடாது. representing என்ன liability, because contingent liability balance sheet liability சைடுலயே வராது, எங்க வரும்னா notes accountsல தான் வரும். அதனால contingent liability other than end of dividend, arrears of dividend payable in respect of என்ன, paid up capital in respect of என்ன share. அப்போ arrears of dividend இருக்குன்னா அத liability எடுத்துக்கோ, ஆனா remaining contingent liability நீ கன்சிடர் பண்ண கூடாது. அப்ப liability யோட என்ன வேல்யூ எடு, book value எடு. சார் இந்த liability எடுக்கும்போது classify how many category na 2 category includes excludes கரெக்ட்டா liability includes யாருன்னா arrears of dividend excludes contingent liability நீ வந்து அதை எடுத்துக்க கூடாது next one the amount n apart set apart for payment of dividend on n share preference shares and n share equity that means நீ வந்து preference shares தரலாம் equity shares தரலாம் அப்படினு சொல்லி நீ ஒரு amount set apart பண்ணி வச்சிருக்க ஒதுக்கி வச்சிருக்க அத liability னு சொல்ல கூடாது கரெக்ட்டா ஏனா அது liability கிடையாது it's only an appropriation of profit கரெக்ட்டா அப்ப அது எக்ஸ்க்ளூட் பண்ணிரணும் எதுனா set apart என்னது for dividend payment என்ன payment dividend payment சார் ரெண்டு dividend இருக்கு preference dividend இருக்கு next one sir reserves and surplus by whatever name called even if the resulting figure is what other than those set apart towards what depreciation அப்ப reserves and surplus அப்ப இது includeல பொண்ணு வருது other than set apart towards what depreciation அப்ப other than set apart for depreciation na provision for depreciation இருக்கு இல்லையா provision for depreciation liability எடுத்துக்கலாம் ஏனா அங்க asset எடுத்துட்டேன் அப்ப அங்க asset எடுக்கும்போது அதோட corresponding liability எடுத்துக்கலாம் வேற எந்த reserves and surplus எடுக்க கூடாது an amount representing provision for what taxation other than amount of any tax paid as deduction or collection of tax or advance tax payment as reduced by the amount of any tax claimed as refund under the act to the extent of excess over the any payable tax payable with reference to the book profit in accordance with the law applicable thereto right that means என்ன எடுக்க கூடாதுனா provision for taxation எடுக்க கூடாது ஆனா net of tax மைனஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம் அது ஆல்ரெடி மேலே மைனஸ் பண்ணிருப்ப அசெட்டை கன்சிடர் பண்ணும்போதே அசெட்ல இருந்து ரெண்டு விஷயம் மைனஸ் பண்ற ஒன்னு யாரையும் yes next one sir any amount என்ன sir representing provision made for meeting liability other than any liability that is provision for any liability unascertained liability அப்ப provision for ascertained liability include பண்ணிக்கலாம் next one sir any amount of cumulative என்ன share preference shares sir cumulative என்ன share preference shares PE is the total amount of paid up in a equity share capital as shown in the balance sheet PV the paid up value of such in a shares equity shares அப்ப PE னா என்ன total amount of paid up equity share capital as shown in the balance sheet PV னா என்ன paid up value of equity such equity shares are you really with me அப்ப இதுல நம்ம என்ன பண்ணோம்னா ரெண்டு டைப் ஆஃப் அசெட் பத்தி பேசியாச்சு இப்போ ஒன்னு quoted shares and securities if it is quoted shares and security you have to take the average rate specified dateல trading இருந்தா அன்னையோட average rate இல்லனா அதுக்கு முன்னாடி எப்ப trading இருக்கோ அன்னையோட average rate எடுத்துக்கோ that's it next one unquoted என்ன share equity share unquoted equity shares correcta yes sir unquoted equity shares hello sir unquoted equity shares what they are saying some formula what A plus B minus L into PV divided by PE hello sir there we should understand what is A what is B what is L shall we draw a balance sheet if you see the balance sheet man A means sir A B both should come in the asset side L should come in the liability side sir PV and PE will come in the as capital correct okay man what is A yes sir assets other than bullion assets other than bullion right for assets other than bullion you have to take the book value next one sir for what is B B means bullion jewelry immovable property shares and securities all those stuffs correct for that you have to take the fair market value what is the special note you have to treat when you are calculating the assets other than bullion you have to take the book value as reduced by net of income tax number 2 unamortized assets deferred revenue expenditure basically correct unamortized assets so these things should be reduced so take the book value from that you reduce this part shall I proceed yes sir that's it sir but there is no specific bullion jewelry வேற எதுவுமே இல்ல என்ன மார்க்கெட் வேல்யூ மட்டும் எடு அப்படினா பேசிக்கா book value of other than bullion plus fair market value of bullion jewelry immovable property all those stuffs so you will get the total asset correct From there reduce the liability which is L. என்னப்பா?
Yes, sir.
That liability can be classified in two categories. Yeah? Liability includes, liability excludes. So liability classified into how many categories? Two categories. Number one, liability includes and liability excludes. Liability includes, liability excludes. Sir, you have to reduce liability at any value? Book value. You have to reduce liability at?
Book value.
So you have to take the book value of asset other than bullion plus fair market value of the bullion. You will get the total asset minus
Book value of
book value of liabilities. You will get the subtotal which is nothing but another net asset. Correct Alia? Yes sir. So book value of liability, what and all will form part of liability? Certain things are included in liability, certain things are excluded in liability. Correct? We have written here, my dear lovable students, it's our liability includes, excludes. First end of dividend.
Arrears of dividend includes.
Arrears of dividend includes. In arrears of என்ன dividend? என்ன dividend ஆவனா இருக்கட்டும் இல்லையா? அப்ப arrears of dividend should be included. Next one, provision for depreciation. ஏன் provision for depreciation liability ன்னு கூப்பிடுற? Because asset அங்க include பண்ணிருக்கோம் இல்லையா? Next one, provision for ascertain liability. ஏன் provision for ascertain liability liability ன்னு சொல்ற? ஏனா அது unascertain கிடையாது, ascertained. Hello sir. Yes sir. Next with regard to that, இதெல்லாம் நமக்கு என்ன கிடையாது? Liabilities கிடையாது. அப்ப இதெல்லாம் நான் எக்ஸ்க்ளூட் பண்ணனும் இல்லையா? அப்ப இதெல்லாம் liability னே கூப்பிட கூடாது. Number 1, என்ன liability? Contingent liability. Contingent liability. Number 2, an amount set apart for any payment, dividend payment, basically appropriation of profit. Sir, amount set apart for dividend payment. Amount set apart for dividend payment. Number 3, reserves and surplus, because reserves and surplus is not liability. Reserves and surplus is form part of capital. Yes sir, it's form part of net worth. Next one, provision for taxation. Provision for taxation. Are you really with me? Then next one, provision for unascertain liability. Provision for unascertain liability. The next one, amount of cumulative preferences. Amount of our cumulative preferences என்ன கிடையாதுனா liability கிடையாது, because it's form part of capital man. Yes sir, capital ஓட ஒரு பாகம் தான் cumulative என்ன share preferences. So these 6 items should be excluded. இதெல்லாம் என்னன்னு சொல்ல கூடாது, but these 3 items should be included. இத என்னன்னு சொல்லு, liability ன்னு சொல்லு. Fine பா, மேட்டருக்கு வா. நம்ம பேலன்ஸ் ஷீட் வேல்யூ பண்றோம் இல்லையா? எஸ் சார். ஷேர்ஸ் அண்ட் செக்யூரிட்டிஸ் வேல்யூ பண்றோம். ஷேர்ஸ் அண்ட் செக்யூரிட்டிஸ் 3 விதத்துல இருக்கு. எஸ் சார். சார் கோட்டட் ஷேர்ஸ் அண்ட் செக்யூரிட்டிஸ் அந்த ரொம்ப ஈஸி. கோட்டட்னா லிஸ்டட், லிஸ்டட்னா ரொம்ப சிம்பிள். You have to take the average on the specified date. If the average is not available, you have to see the NSR immediately preceding period. Unquoted இருந்தா what plus what, A plus B minus L into PV, PAVI divided by PE. What is PAVI? PAVI na enna? Total amount of paid up equity share capital as shown in the sheet, balance sheet. மொத்தமா paid up equity share capital எவ்வளவு பே பண்ணிருக்க? So paid up equity அதான் PE, paid up equity. That means total amount of paid up equity share capital as shown in the sheet, balance sheet. What is PV? Paid up value of such in a share, equity share. What is the difference between PE and PV? PE க்கும் PV க்கும் என்ன difference? Total amount of paid up equity share capital in the balance sheet. Yes, PE represent the book value and PV represent the, because the paid up value of such equity share. Correct? Inga total amount of paid up equity share capital is shown in the enga balance sheet. Books of accounts irukra value PE, market irukra value PV. That's it man. We are done with the second valuation. A plus B minus L into PV divided by P. Otukarani. I'm moving into the shares and securities other than in the share. Romba easy. என்ன market value எடுத்துரு? Fair market value of such shares and security other than equity shares shall be estimated to be price it would fetch if sold in the என்ன market on the specified date on the basis of valuation report from a merchant banker or an accountant in respect of such valuation. That means I have to take the என்ன market value? Fair market value. ரொம்ப simple. This is fair market value. Really, super fantastic. That's it, man. Shares and securities valuation comes to an. I'm moving into the என்ன property. Tuck, we can move. The fair market value of immovable property shall be higher of. That means dash or dash, whichever is price than the property should ordinarily fetch should sold in the enna. On the enna date. On the basis of enna report. On a enna value or enna duty value. That means open market value or stamp duty value, whichever is higher. Open market value or stamp duty value, whichever is. So with regard to immovable property, either open market value or stamp duty value, whichever is higher. Correct? Yes, sir. Sir, இதை வந்து stamp duty value whichever is higher போட்டா உனக்கு fair market value கிடைக்கும்னு சொல்றாங்க. ஓகேவா? Because இதை நீ ஏன் stamp duty value கூப்பிடுறேன்னா stamp duty value வந்து one of the component மாறிடுச்சு. ஓகேவா? அதனால open market value or stamp duty value whichever is higher is the end market value. Fair market value. Clear? A business undertaking. Sir, the fair market value of an undertaking held by specified person shall be its an asset determined in accordance with the following formula. Fair market value is equal to A plus B minus L. திருப்பி formula எடுத்துட்டு வராங்க. A plus B minus L already discuss பண்ணியாச்சு. A, B and L would be determined in the same manner dance as discussed above in case of unquoted equity share. That means the same formula will be applicable for business unit is equal to A plus B minus L. Up A stands for book value of all the assets other than bullion, fair market value of the bullion minus liability. Liability includes, liability excludes. Three things are included, 6 things are excluded. You can, if you want, you can write this chart by your own. Hello, sir? Yes, sir. Any other asset? Idillam where asset? The fair market value of any asset other than those referred in what shall be the price the asset shall ordinarily fetch sold in the market. That means enna market value on the specified date on the basis of valuation report from enna valuer. However, in case no valuer is registered for valuation of such asset, the valuation report shall be obtained from valuer who is member of any one of the enna valuer. Professional, that is institution of valuers, institution of surveyors and institution of government approved valuers, the practitioner valuers association. இவங்க யார்கிட்ட ஒருத்தங்கிட்ட நீ போய் வேல்யூ பண்ணி வாங்கணும் அவ்வளவுதான். நீயா ஏதோ வாயில வந்து வேல்யூ சொல்ல கூடாது. That means open market value will be the NSR value for any other asset. So for other asset, what is the value? Open market value determined by valuation report. Determined by the அது யார் வேல்யூஷன் பண்ணணும்? அங்க லிஸ்ட் கொடுத்திருக்காங்க, அவங்க யார் வேணா வேல்யூஷன் பண்ணலாம். ஹலோ, எஸ் சார். I'm moving to the next one, man. So what is that? We are calculating the accreted income. Accreted income is equal to asset minus liability. What is asset? Your asset may comprise of shares and security, immovable property, business unit, other asset. Right? For shares and security may be of 3 types. Sir, quoted shares and securities, unquoted equity shares, shares and securities other than equity shares. Right? Yes, but I will tell you, this is a very easy area when we start doing the problem. Because straight away, everything will be given in the question. Just you have to pick the data. Hello, sir. அந்த டைம்ல நீ இந்த டிஸ்கஷன் ஒண்ணுமே இல்ல. இதுல வந்து நம்ம கிட்ட அவ்வளவு குழப்பற மாதிரி எதுவுமே கேட்க மாட்டான். ஒரு வாட்டி நீ இதெல்லாம் நான் சொல்றது கேட்டிருக்கே ஐசி அதான் கேட்பாங்க, வேற எதுவும் இல்ல. சார், கோட்டட் ஷேர்ஸ் ஆர்னா ஆவரேஜ் பிரைஸ் எடுத்துக்கோ. அன்கோட்டட் ஷேர்ஸ் ஆர்னா A plus B minus L into PV divided by PE எடுத்துக்கோ. ஷேர்ஸ் அண்ட் செக்யூரிட்டி அதர் than security என்ன சார்? equity shares ஆர்னா fair market value எடுத்துக்கோ. With regard to business unit, the same formula A plus B minus L. நான் அவங்க கொடுத்த ஃபார்மேட்ல ஒரு சின்ன சேஞ்ச் பண்றேன். இந்த பிசினஸ் யூனிட் இந்த சைடுக்கு எடுத்துட்டு வா. ரெண்டாவதா மூணாவதா என்ன வச்சிரு? இம்மோபிள் IMP 3 வார்த்தை. அதனால இல்ல, இது என்னன்னா A plus B அதே ஃபார்முலா அப்படியே கண்டினியூ ஆகுது பாத்தியா? அப்புறம் நீ சார்ட் எழுதும்போது பிசினஸ் யூனிட் எழுதுனதுக்கு அப்புறம் இம்மோபிள் ப்ராப்பர்ட்டி எழுதிரு. ஹலோ, எஸ் சார். அதர் அசெட், பேலன்ஸ் அசெட் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிடலாம். இம்மோபிள் ப்ராப்பர்ட்டிக்கு என்ன எடுப்பேன்? either the open market value or stamp duty value, whichever is higher is the fair market value. Other asset open market value determined by the valuation report is the market value. Fair market value. Open market value is the fair market value. Right? I'm moving into the next one, man. Third point is that with that we will be done. The total liability of any person shall be book value of liability. Already told you. Liability you have to take the book value in the balance sheet on the end date but not including the following amounts. இதெல்லாம் இன்க்ளூட் பண்ண கூடாது. நம்ம ஆல்ரெடி எடுத்துட்டோம். நம்பர் 1 கேபிட்டல் ஃபண்டு, அக்யூமுலேட்டர் ஃபண்டு, கார்பஸ் பை வாட் எவர் நேம் கால். இது எதுவுமே வந்து எதுல வராதுன்னா லைபிலிட்டில reserves and surplus or excess of income or expenditure by any name call, whatever name call, any amount representing any liability, any amount representing provision made for meeting liability other than any liability. இதெல்லாம் நம்ம டீடைலா படிச்சாச்சு இல்லையா? any amount representing என்ன for tax other than the amount of tax paid as deduction or collection of taxes, advance tax payment is reduced by the amount of income tax claimed as refund to the extent of excess over the income tax payable with reference to the income tax in accordance with the law applicable thereto. நம்மள பொறுத்தவரைக்கும் நம்ம liability includes, liability excludes னு ஒரு சார்ட்டே போட்டு liability includes மூணு விஷயங்கள். any liability which are ascertained should be included. arrears of என்ன dividend, என்ன dividend, equity dividend should be included. What one more liability should be included? Yes, provision for depreciation should be included. These three things will be treated as liability, but 6 things will not be treated as liability. Number 1, contingent liability is not a liability. Amount set aside for dividend payment is not a liability. Reserves and surplus is not a liability. Provision for taxation is not a liability. Provision for unnecessary liability is not a liability. Amount of cumulative preference shares is not a liability. So if you add this and if you reduce that, you'll be able to appreciate what is the meaning of certain term. Not required accountant means chartered accountant. Balance sheet means balance sheet. Quoted shares means quoted share. Specified date means the date referred in NSR 115 TD. நம்ம தான் date of conversion நம்ம கதறமே. Date of dissolution, date of merger நம்ம தான் என்ன டேட் முடிச்சாச்சு specified date முடிச்சாச்சு. Stamp duty value na stamp valuation authority எடுக்கிறது. Unquoted shares of security na not quoted, other unquoted. That means we can say that exit tax valuation comes to an. Shall we have a quick recall of this? Yes sir, this part you have to sir join along with me. Balance sheet classified into 3 category. That means you have to find out the net worth basically. Net worth is equal to asset minus liability. Right, my asset may be classified into 4 category, which are shares and security, business unit, immovable property, other asset. That's better, correct? Shares and security you analyze. Your shares and securities are whether quoted shares and securities are unquoted equity shares are other shares and securities are right. In case quoted are take the average rate. That's it. இன்னைக்கு இருந்தா இன்னைக்கு இல்ல முன்னாடி நாளைக்கு எப்போ அவ்வளவுதான் முடிஞ்சு போயிடுச்சு. Unquoted shares, equity shares are A plus B minus L into PAVI divided by PE. Correct? Where A stands for book value of the asset other than bullion. B stands for fair market value of the bullion. Liability means liability. That liability include 3 items, liability exclude 6 items. Right? Into PV means present value of the, that is market value of the equity shares divided by book value of the equity shares. Right? Shares and securities other than equity shares taken the market value. For business unit, same valuation, A plus B minus L. For immovable property, dash or dash, whichever is dash, open market value as determined by the valuation officer. That very important, man. Open market value determined by the valuation report or stamp duty value, whichever is higher is the fair market value. For other asset, don't go for stamp duty value, because for other asset is not an immovable property. Stamp duty value will not be there. Take the open market value determined by the valuation report taken as the fair market value. Right? Yes sir. Sir, liabilities includes 3 things: arrears of dividend, sir, provision for depreciation, provision for ascertained liability. Exclude 6 things. Number 1, contingent liability, amount set apart for dividend payment, then reserves and surplus, provision for taxation, provision for unexplained liability, and amount of. Sir, from this trust chapter, my dear lovable students, from the whole, that is section 11, section 12, section 10, 23 C series organization, and plus the inner tax, exit tax, we will be doing around 50 question, exclusive question. How we have done assessment 200 question. From trust chapter alone will be focusing for 50 question to make this as 250 question for our examination. Hello. Yes, so if you revise this and if you are coming, you will be feeling so much comfortable with regard to the charitable trust. So revise that both the slots and start doing the question. We'll meet you in the